Greetings, it's Max So Diddly here. Today I'm going to show you how to validate a password using Python Part 2. And in this tutorial we're going to go over how to check for repeating characters. So what do I mean by a repeating character? Well, let's look at this little input variable we've got here. We have got aaaSSSaa. Now, in this input we can see A is repeated 5 times in a row. Then we've got one S, then we've got 4 A's repeated in a row. And some passwords don't like this. They don't like the fact you're repeating A 5 times in a row. So we're basically going to go over how we can stop repeating a sequence of characters. And what I mean is, let's say we have a limit of, okay, you can have up to 3 A's in a row in a password. If we have 4 A's in a row, then it's invalid. But let's say we had 3 A's, an S, and 3 A's, that would be perfectly valid because no sequence of A's that are adjacent to each other is greater than 3. That's what we're going to do. Let's get right into it. So firstly, we've got our input variable. That's going to be the password we're going to check. Then we've got a print statement, so we're going to print something. Repeating characters, input and 2. This is going to be the function we're going to make. Input is going to be the first parameter, and 2 will be the maximum amount of characters we can have repeating next to each other. Let's define the function. Firstly, we're going to define repeating characters, password, and max repeat, then a colon. After that, we're going to do last character equals none. We're just creating a variable to store the last character, and repeat count equals 0. This is going to be keeping track of any potential sequence of adjacent repeating characters. Then we're going to do a for loop. So we're going to do for I in range 1 len password. So this is pretty standard stuff. We're just going to loop through the entire password, which is our string, and we're going to loop for each character. However, you might have noticed, why are we starting on a 1 and not a 0? Well, basically, how this code is going to work is we're going to check a character, and we're going to check the character after it to see if they're the same or not. So if we were to start on 0, we couldn't check the character behind because there would be none. That's why we're starting on 1 instead of 0. We don't need to start checking from 0, because when we check the character element 1 in the array, we're going to by default be checking as well the character beforehand, which is number 0. So what we do then is we do last character equals password I minus 1. So we're getting the last character, the character before the current character we're checking in this array. After that, we're going to do an if-else statement. If password I equals last character, repeat count plus equals 1, else repeat count equals 0. Basically, if the characters match, then this sequence of adjacent characters that are the same increases by 1. Otherwise, it goes back to 0 because we've got a new character that isn't the same as before, so it stops the sequence of adjacent characters. After that, we want to do if repeat count equals max repeat, return false. This basically means, right, if our repeat count has hit the limit of the max amount of repeating characters we want, we return a false. Underneath that, we do a return true because it means, hey, you made it through the entire for loop. That means this password matches the condition we set, therefore return true because it's valid in the eyes of our repeating character condition. And that's kind of it. We're going to just tidy up the code a tiny bit here. And we're going to hit play. So we're going to have a maximum sequence of 2 for this password. And it says false. Because we've got 5 A's in a row here. So let's say we put a 5 as the maximum amount of times we can have a character repeating. It's true because 5 is the maximum amount we're allowing. If we were to put, let's say, a 7, it's true because 5 is less than 7. If we were to put a 4, it becomes false because we only allow for up to 4 repeating characters in a row, but we've got 5. Now, let's say we were to do a bunch more S's. So we've got 4 S's in a row, 5 A's in a row, then 4 A's, that's still false, but if we were to put this up to, let's say, 5, it becomes true. And that's basically it for this tutorial, so thanks for watching, be sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to see more Python tutorials. Thanks for being a great audience.